Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for One Piece chapter 1087, and it's really cool to be back doing One Piece stuff. So gonna be a bit of a teeny bit of a long intro on this one. For those of you who are new or who have been with the channel for a little bit but don't remember One Piece stuff, I covered One Piece all the way from Zou. I was doing One Piece a long time ago. Weekly, I went through Zou. I started somewhere during Zou, through Whole Cake Island, through Wano, and I stopped doing weekly One Piece content at 10:44, 10:43, somewhere around there. And it was one of those things where I feel like looking back, like there were tons of moments where I was like not really that into it, or I had like really awful reading comprehension. And of course, you get older, you go back and reread things, and it's like, okay, my takes now a lot different than ones I had like during in the moment. But yeah, I stopped doing One Piece stuff after like 10:43, 10:44, just because I was tired after 3 to 4 years of dog shit Wano content. I was sick of Wano Piece. So I did, after Wano ended, I did like a discussion video or two really long, and recently, over this break, the 7D4W break, during this break I did another big discussion video talking about how I felt after rereading the stuff up until the break point, and how much I've been kind of really enjoying the Egghead stuff, the post-Wano stuff. And people wanted me to go back to doing more One Piece stuff, and I wanted to do more One Piece stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back to doing the reactions, but there are like a billion people doing reactions to One Piece, and since that's the case, I'm gonna do it a little different. My last few videos before I stopped doing before I stopped doing reactions, I did bingo with it, so I'm gonna start doing that. I'll post the card before spoilers come out, so for people who enjoy spoilers, you'll have it before those come out. I'll make the card, post it before then for anybody else that wants to play. This week I guarantee you not gonna succeed because I haven't like really been spoiled, but I know we're going back to Garp and Kuzan stuff, which is surprising to me. So the past like 10 or so chapters, we have been away from Egghead, been away from the Straw Hats, and I felt like that was because Oda, going into this break, was finishing off the non-Egghead stuff so that after the break we would be back in Egghead. And it's exactly like 10 chapters since we've been away, and you know, volumes are usually 10, 11 chapters, so I was like, we just finished up the Shanks and Kid stuff, the Law and Blackbeard stuff. We just finished, I thought last chapter, I was like, okay, we're just finished with the Sabo and Revolutionary stuff. So all of that, I'm like, okay, cool, we're done with that, and we're going to go back to Egghead. We're just going to get back to the Garp and Kuzan stuff later. But given that that's what this chapter is, and given that I guess it's the 11th, I'm just sort of like, okay, so Volume 107 I still think is going to be just away from Egghead, away from the Strats. Volume 107 is all this other stuff, and maybe this is where it ends. Maybe we finish the Garp and Kuzan stuff here, and then 108, starting with 1088, we get back to the Egghead stuff, maybe. Maybe that's where we're going from here. So yeah, this, because I figured maybe we're going back to Egghead, but because I really didn't know, the choices for bingo are all over the place. In addition to that, the way I'm going to be doing these videos, I kind of forgot to say earlier, is I'm not a huge fan of the official translation for One Piece. I think generally the official translation is of a lower quality than the scans usually. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be reacting to the scans. And because I don't want to spoil people that wait for the official release or anything, the way I'm going to do this is whenever the scans come out. For me, it was Wednesday night, so I was like, it was Wednesday night at like midnight. So I was like, okay, Thursday morning, I'll record this and post it. But I had to work all day yesterday, so Friday morning is when I'm actually doing this. So yeah, this is going to be Friday, but generally, whenever the scans come out, gonna do the reaction then, and I'll throw it up with just a basic title like One Piece chapter whatever reaction, and I'll throw it up for patrons and channel members, and then I'll add a thumbnail and stuff. When the official release comes out, I'll add a thumbnail and stuff, and I will then make it public for everybody. So patrons and channel members will get it early. Then when the official release comes out, I'll make it public for everybody. But, like, again, it'd be very, very appreciated if you became a patron or channel member, but if you don't want to, I think that maybe give it a couple weeks. Like, make sure I really stick with doing it this way, because that's the way I think I'm going to do it now, but who knows if my mind will change. That's the way I want to do it. So again, if you're not really sure, maybe give it a little bit, just to make sure I stick with it this way, and then if you want to become a patron or channel member, then it's like, okay, now it's safe to. But yeah, either way, right before reacting, sorry, turning into a long intro, but I said it would, because this is my first video back doing this stuff. Before I go, I want to go over the bingo card before I react, and I want to have one other thing. I want to get it out here in the world, my prediction for how Egghead ends, because we're getting like a bigger Buster call than what happened at Ohara. We're having like J. Garcia Saturn, Kizaru, all these Vice Admirals coming in. Smoker's going to be involved somehow. I think Smoker's going to be an ally for the Strats here. Carrot, I don't know, who knows what happens with Carrot, but the way that she was one of the only characters from Wano that didn't really have a conclusion in Wano makes me think maybe there's always the chance she's in Caribou. We haven't seen Caribou for a while. I think there's a small chance that we get the Grand Fleet involved, but I doubt it. I think towards the end, though, I really do think the Revolutionaries will play a part, especially since at the very beginning of the arc we saw Shaka calling Dragon. I think the Revolutionaries are going to show up at some point. But I think the way it's going to end is I can totally see Vegapunk or maybe Frankie, after having like seen all of Vegapunk stuff, is going to comedically like suit up the Sunny. Like, remember back in Jaya when the Mary was like suited up with the chicken wings and everything to get sent up to the Sky Island? I think this is the perfect place to do it, since it's like retro futuristic and everything, to have this goofy setup where the Sunny is converted temporarily into a spaceship and sent up to the moon. We've been talking about the moon for forever. My prediction for the end, putting it out there because I haven't seen anybody else say it, is the way that the Straw Hats escape the Egghead incident is that they're gonna like convert the Sunny into a spaceship temporarily and send it up to the moon, because all of the previous Grand Line villains have had an important role in the story after that. All of the supernovas, the worst generation, have had an important role, and the only two that haven't yet are Anil and Rouge. So I think that ties in perfectly to like go ahead and let those two have their important moment, their important connection to what's going on. And that kind of covers everything going into the final arcs here. So yeah, my wild prediction for that. But going through the bingo card really quick here. So the things I chose, and of course it like when you choose to play, it randomly generates where they go. We have Egghead Butt fan service, because we've had a lot of that in Egghead. The True Whole Cake Island. Named Attack, that seems like an easy layup. Straw Hat Grand Fleet, I would just count if we saw any member of the Grand Fleet, like any of the 7 representatives or whatever. Where's Caribou? If we see Caribou anywhere, any of the 10 Titanic captains. Useless Captain Mid, if he shows up. New Mads, since we got them in the cover arc, and since we're dealing with Vegapunk stuff, if we see New Mads. Smoker, because again, it was said that Smoker was headed to Egghead a long time ago. Kuma in a flashback, since we're dealing with Bonnie viewing the flashback stuff. Somebody gets turned to stone, between us potentially seeing real Hancock, though I doubt we will soon, and that happening a lot now with S-Snake. That's a possibility. Seeing any of the Gorosei. Chopper is afraid of something might as well be an additional free space, because it seems like the only times we see Chopper these days are for him to go, whoa, that's so scary, that's so crazy, to react to something really flanderized. Free space, we can go ahead and click that one. Wano piece, if we're back with any of the Wano characters or Wano itself. The Cross Guild, I don't know, I guess if we see any of the members of the Cross Guild, I guess we'll count that. The Revolutionaries are coming to Egghead. Whether they say they're coming to Egghead, whether we see them on the way there, whether they show up there, that's generally the idea. If we see Vivi Wapol and Morgans, there's a good chance we could see them. Law and Beppo, because of course they ran away from Blackbeard recently. Shaka was a fake out, because I mean, it seemed like he got shot in the head, but it's One Piece. Kuma in a not flashback version, because we still have to see what's going on with him up at the Red Line. Carrot and or Zunisha, whether they show up in a cover story or whether they show up in the actual manga. A new cover story, because like I said, we were going on break. It's been a while since the last cover story ended with new Mads and everything. So it feels like we'll probably start a new one soon. Garp versus Kuzan, if we went back, and of course, like I said, I've been spoiled that that's the general focus of this chapter. If we went back to Garp versus Kuzan, a bounty reveal for anybody, or -1 Vegapunk if one of the Vegapunks gets taken out. So yeah, it's kind of hard to really get a bingo on this one. Everything's all over the place, and that's because I had no idea where we were coming back to with chapter 1087. Like, I figured it would be Egghead. Turns out I was wrong. I figured it would be Egghead, but yeah, guess I'm incorrect here. So it's going to be difficult, and if I do get bingo, I feel like there should be something, like on the rare occasion that we do get one week. It's like, if I get bingo, let me know what you think it should be. Should I get a piece of One Piece merch and do a video on that? Should I just do another One Piece video in general? It's like, okay, if you get bingo one week, you have to do a theory or discussion or ranking video or something like that. I think those are the two best ideas I have, but either way, for those of you that have been waiting over 11 minutes, let's go ahead and finally react. But I guess, like, what you should probably get used to with the channel and everything is, I don't want to just, and I did this a lot with One Piece in the past, I don't want to just sit and read a chapter and be like, okay, hit record, read the chapter, hit stop recording, and that's it. You just literally saw me read the chapter. I want to go through and talk about it as we're reading. I want to discuss One Piece. That's generally how my reactions have sort of changed and grown recently, I feel like, where I just like want to take my time with stuff, chill, talk with you all about what I'm reading. So yeah, let's chill, let's read through. This one is called Chapter 1087, Battleship Bags. And on the cover, we have a cover request, Ace heating up a bath for some capybara. And capybara is smoking it up. He's in the little, like, bath barrel thing. That's neat. It's wild seeing Ace again. I mean, I guess after Wano we saw Ace a bunch. Interesting. I don't think that covers anything on the bingo board though. Neat. Okay. So we have Ship Scrapyard, Navy Branch, G1. Beat up battleships. Battleship bags. You mean like punching bags? Now that you mention it, it does look like their armored hulls have been caved in with punches. Who did this? Interesting. Vice Admiral Garp. Ever since his youth, he made part of his day. Who would have guessed that we'd be seeing, what is it, brand new? He made this part of his daily routine. Huh? He's still doing it. What about the second one? And that looks like Django, so I'm assuming the other one's full body. That's Aokaji's handiwork. The former admiral was Garp's protege. The rules were no hockey or fruit abilities allowed while working on the battleship bags. See, I do feel like Kuzan could be the one. It's so weird. So Kuzan could be the one to take out Garp, being it's like, okay, the protege takes out the mentor, but it just feels like Kuzan is like, if he does take out Garp, that's like a really emotional thing for like Luffy, Garp's grandfather, but I feel like Aokiji and Luffy really don't have that kind of strong animosity or anything, unless maybe, and like, of course there's the theory that Kuzan's still a good guy somehow, which is like, kind of reasonable because it's the way Oda tends to portray him. But it's odd. Unless Kuzan's supposed to be like an endgame opponent for Kobe. But again, it's an odd choice, I feel like. But either way, just goes to show that no one's born a hero. It's a strength you have to earn. So Garp just earned his strength by training it out. We see Hachinosu, the pirate island, New World. And that looks like somebody going into the ocean. And it's cool how we have Hachinosu with the eyes and all. Since it's being controlled by, what's his face, Avelo's fruit. He sent San Juan Wolf flying. Garp's scary. We gotta pull him up. Quick, he'll drown. But how? So, this is the legendary hero. Heavy drinker, Hearth Fire. And we have Vasco Shot, breathing flames. But that's at least any of the Titanic captains. And that's a named attack from him. So is that Sorry, just glancing over these really quick. Yeah. Alright. Well, that's at least 2 there. And I guess we could... Let's just go ahead and mark Garp versus Kuzan, because we know we're going to end up with it here. Alright. Heavy drinker. Hearth fire. And then Garp picks up some guys and uses them as human shields. Just sitting there, just stone-faced. That is, like, brutal. Cold. Pirate jack-o'-lantern. Out, hot, stop. And Garp's, like, spinning and throwing the guys. Hot, 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 hot. And then, you bastard, are you trying to destroy the pirate island? Garp. Oh, and that's the actual, like, skull face. It has a window as a nose. The actual skull face of Pizarro speaking. If the town burns down, Captain Teach will kill us. He's totally outnumbered, and he isn't even flinching. And he's smiling. What a terrifying geezer. Garp is him. Come in, Vice Admiral Garp. The wounded and all the rescued slaves are on board. Wow. Nuts. So I wonder, I think it's going to be really interesting if we see Perona and Moria. Because I really think people, like, sleep on Moria. Like, Prime Moria fought... he lost to Kaido, but Prime Moria fought against Kaido at one point. Like, he attacked Wano and all. In addition to that, we've seen how strong the other, like, 7 warlords are. So yeah, I think people are sleeping on Moria. If, like, Perona and Moria get involved, like, that could be a big part of things, too. We're setting sail. And is that Tashigi? I didn't think Tashigi went with them. Interesting. I guess so. But we have Tashigi and the one talking on the radio. I can't tell if that's... Yeah, I think it's Kujaku because of the hat. Hibari-chan, hang in there. We need to thaw the frozen people out slowly. Is Captain Kobe okay? You can pull out when you're ready. We're done here. Kobe, Gru, Helmeppo. I don't know if it's Gru or Gruz, but I think it should be pronounced Gru. Kobe, Gru, Helmeppo, it's time to go. Yes, sir. Okay, and we still have them fighting. We have, like, Kobe kicking a guy, Gru using some sort of mace, and then just low detail Helmeppo in the background. Hachinosu lives up to its reputation. There's no end to all these pirates. Bro, Hachinosu looking really bad here. Really getting taken down by the sword guys. Like I said, I can't just let you leave. And we have Kuzan, Garp-san. I should have gone with the others. We're doomed. Hey, Garp-san, am I also the future of the Marines? You still want to go, Kuzan? Just being ignored. Gru, not the protege that Kobe or Kuzan are. We can't underestimate the Titanic captains. Alright, sorry, just looking to see if there's any kind of details or anything I'm missing in the panel. Listen up, you three. And I wonder if Kobe got the ball and chain off. Listen up, you three. Head straight to the coast and you'll be fine. Don't you die on me, you hear? Yes, sir. And we had shots of those 3. Who would have thought, beginning of the series, because I've been rereading One Piece in Japanese to just work with my Japanese and all. So I've been rereading in Japanese, and I'm like at Seraph Village, and like the early arcs were so good. Like, I'm like, wow, the early arcs of One Piece are slept on. I really love early One Piece. So who would have thought Helmeppo would end up here? Someone help. And we're, yeah, haha. Oh no, they still have a hostage. I'm coming. We almost left you behind. Kobe, you idiot, it's a trap. And, hee. So they pull a knife, so I guess, yeah, confirmed trap. Huh? And then we have a face coming in. And it's Invisa Shiryu. And he stabs Garp. Again, I figured Kuzan would take out Garp. But, like, if Garp does get taken out, of course. But if Shiryu did it, that's wild too, because Shiryu really seems like a Zoro opponent. And Zoro and Garp don't really have much of a connection. Interesting. So he stabs through, and Garp's still smiling. What? And then he brings his fist up. He to this and crushes him into the... Garp is him. Garp is that guy. Shiryu. That punk from Impel Down. He was invisible. Whoa, it's Shiryu-san. He stabbed Iron Garp. He's been weakened. Garp-san. This is nothing. Go to the ship. But it's my fault. You were protecting me. Don't flatter yourself, Kobe. I was in his sights the whole time. Garp's vulnerable. We might be able to take him out now. And we have all these pirates rushing in. And does this count as butt fan service? Because the one on the right kind of dump trucked up. But yeah, why do they think this will work at all? Killing him is an instant ticket to wealth and glory. Also, I'm wondering what is Avalo doing just watching here? Because you'd figure Avalo's like Pika on steroids. He should be doing something nuts. Get him. He's got a 3 crown bounty, same as the Admirals. That's around 3 billion. Garp is him. I also love that's around 3 billion. If it's exactly 3 billion, then that's like the same as Luffy, so it's cool that Garp and Luffy have the same they have the same bounty since like grandson, grandfather and all. But yeah, that's bounty reveal. I don't know if it should count as cross guild though, but we got a bounty reveal. If we were lucky enough for those 4 to have lined up straight, then we could have ended up with a bingo here. But out of the way, small fry. You guys wouldn't stand a chance, even if we bound both his arms and legs. Ice glove. And then Garp smiles. Take you on as a disciple. I like my freedom, thanks. Go learn from one of the Navy instructors. It's so cool seeing young Garp. Young Garp, plus talking about his freedom. He's just so Luffy-like. They've taught me all they can. I'm ready for the next level. Make me your disciple. Get lost. Remember, no haki. This is training. I couldn't use it even if I wanted to. Oh. And then we still have time passing. My son became a revolutionary, damn it, and we have just the sound effects of them hitting the ships, I'm assuming. And now my grandson says he's going to be a pirate. I won't stand for it. Why are you telling me? And so, again, it makes it more interesting, like Kuzan's first sort of introduction and meeting with Luffy. Kuzan, let's go get a bite to eat. I'm an admiral now. Remember, I'm busy. Some tea then. Come on. You have a habit of raising enemies, right? You raised 3 enemies. We're through, my boneheaded pupil. And they both punch each other. Sick. So it's interesting. Him saying he couldn't use haki if he wanted to. Does that mean that Kuzan doesn't have conquerors? It's interesting. Because I would have almost... See, you could say it would make sense if all of the admirals did, because they're like so powerful. But you could also say that because they're deciding to not like rule on their own, maybe if they don't have the ambition of a king and they're choosing to like work for the government, that they don't, like none of them have conquerors because they're like it's a story beat thing. They're not like, they don't have the ambition of a king to be the best, like Zoro wanting to be the greatest swordsman, or Luffy or Kid wanting to be king of the pirates, find the One Piece and all. So it'd be interesting if like Kuzan just didn't. And we have this huge explosion coming off of their clash, similar to what happened with Garp using the Galaxy Fist. And they both get sent flying. Vice Admiral Garp, Kobe yells out. Nyahaha. So that's with these boxes, it's Pizarro. You bastards are not getting away. This is Hachinosu. You shouldn't have poked the pirate hive if you didn't want to get swarmed, because Hachinosu means beehive. You think your friends are... And which is also a reason why I think it should just be called Hachinosu. I don't like the official translation of full of lead, because beehive is like slang for something that getting shot full of bullet holes, but also this like pun doesn't really make sense if you call it full of lead, because Hachinosu is literally beehive. You think your friends are safe just because they set sail. Don't underestimate my island fruit. Can he move the island? And then, you know, it's weird with San Juan Wolf being like the great battleship or whatever, if we have a guy with an island fruit that can like theoretically just move the island. And then we have somebody, Hibari. Where's Kobe-senpai? I'm sorry, all I did was get in the way. He'll be right behind us. I'm just glad you're safe. Waha, What the heck is that? Sorry, I'm trying not to look to the left. All you see in the papers is Blackbeard this, Blackbeard that. It's high time we got a crack at the spotlight. Tomorrow's headlines are gonna read. This panel is sick. We have like the tiny legs and the arms coming out. That's so cool. And it's so weird. What if you're just in one of those buildings and this happens? Like one of the buildings on his hand or arm. Vice Admiral Garp and a squad of rising stars failed to rescue the hero, Captain Kobe. Avalo Pizarro, 4th captain of the Blackbeard Pirates, used his awesome new power. Okay, so we know what ship Avalo is. I don't know if we know all of them ahead of time. I thought we only knew a few. To crush their foolish plan. No, don't do it, please. There are innocent civilians on board. Kobe, don't lose your head. Justice will prevail. Okay, what does this mean? Is this just is this a Garp sort of passing moment? Or like, is Garp going to just get up and like destroy the arm so that they can escape and that's what he means? Or does he have like some sort of what's the meme, like Bogard or whatever, his right hand man, the meme one? I don't know if that's his name or not. Is he going to show up? Is he going to not just be a meme character? Because he's like, justice will prevail. So I don't know if he's meaning that in like a literal sense of we still have fight in us, we still have something up our sleeve, or if it's just like a general, hey, we might take an L here, but justice will prevail in the end. Plus, like I said, we still have Moria here. And Moria's got to be pissed at the Blackbeard Pirates. Again, he worked with the government before. Don't know if he'd be working with the Navy now. But I am so interested. And I think it makes sense since like Perona and Moria are continuing in the story. The previous warlords are kind of conglomerating in the Cross Guild. I think it would just make sense if he ended up with the Cross Guild at some point. I was really surprised that he didn't actually play a role in Wano and all, given his past with Kaido. I thought that that's when he was going to come back into the story. Interesting though. So that's where we end off. Like I said at the beginning, let me see if we had anything else in the bingo card. Like I said, we're probably not. I don't know if we should count butt fan service or not. Yeah, I like. Hold on. Let me go through these really quick. I don't think there's anything more here. Nah, it doesn't look like it. Nah. Okay. So yeah, bingo was what it was. But like I said towards the beginning, I kind of feel like we've spent the past 11 chapters since Volume 106's end away from Egghead, away from the Strats. So 107, if it's 10, 11 chapters, this might be the first chapter of 108, but I think it could be the last one of 107. Then we'll basically have a volume of the end of like all of this stuff, the conclusion of all this stuff. If this is the conclusion for now, I don't know, we could just get another Kuzan and Garp chapter next week for 1088. If this is the conclusion for this, then we can just have a volume of stuff happening away from what's going on, and then volume 108 starting with 1088, we could be back to Egghead and really see what the Egghead incident's going to be. I think that would be, again, my prediction for next week. We cut away from this for a while, we get back to this like maybe later on we take another cut away from Egghead, maybe at the end of Egghead to do like post-Egghead stuff where we're jumping around and seeing like more of what's happening in the world, where Shanks is going, what happens with the conclusion of this, where Vivi and Wapol and Morgans are going. We could see stuff like that at the end of Egghead as like a cutaway. Like I said, my prediction, I'm thinking maybe we head to the moon, just because like if we're bringing Enel back, which I think we are because we've done so with all of the other Grand Line villains, if we're bringing Yuruj to do something important because we've done that with all of the other, and it's actually interesting. I was going to say we've done that with all of the other supernovas, but remember after Wano, Drake went missing and Sword was like, what do? We don't know what's up with Drake. Drake's gone missing. So again, I guess with Sword being the main fighters here, I guess Drake could always do something. But Drake's a weird character where it seems like, so like he helped Luffy take down one of the numbers in Wano, and he himself took out like one of the CP0 guys or something, or maybe he lost to the CP0 guy. I don't quite remember. Wano's a mess. So like I don't have like the highest estimation of like how strong Drake is or anything. But yeah, I don't know. Could Drake show up to like deal with this stuff? Because he's part of Sword 2 and we don't know where he disappeared to. There's so many characters doing so many things that I have no idea. Could Blackbeard himself show back up? I don't think so, but it's possible. I mean, I guess we don't know how nutty Van Augur's fruit is. Because the way I'm seeing it is we've seen Kuzan and Avalo and Vasco-Shot, San Juan Wolf, Shiryu. We've seen these 5 of the 10 Titanic captains here fighting the Marines on Hachinosu. When we saw Blackbeard fighting Law, Blackbeard had Van Augur and Doc Q and what was the other one? What's the other guy's name? Jesus Burgess. He had Burgess with him. So we had those 3. But we have not at all seen Katarina Devon or Lafitte. And the fact that we haven't seen them whatsoever at all, Katarina or Lafitte, makes me personally like think that the ship we see showing up to Egghead is probably those 2 and not Blackbeard himself, because I feel like the Egghead stuff, the Winter Island stuff, the Hachinosu stuff, personally I view this as all happening at the same time. So I don't think that, again, unless the Warp fruit is nutty and Van Augur can send them flying around, I don't really think there's going to be too much crossover there. So I think the Blackbeard ship at Egghead is those 2, and it could make sense if any of the Vegapunks survive, because I think Vegapunk Stella probably dies. It's One Piece though, so I don't know. I think original Stella, there's a good chance that original Stella dies, just because Vegapunk has so much knowledge, and now he's given knowledge to the Straw Hats, that I think that Vegapunk delivers that knowledge, then gets taken out. I think if any Vegapunks survive this arc, I think the robotic ones can definitely be taken down. Shaka's maybe already down. Pythagoras is probably already down. Edison, maybe half the head was crushed. Atlas I could see taken out. The only 2 I could see maybe surviving is Lilith, because Lilith is the one that's called the evil. Lilith was the first one they met. Lilith has a humanish design. I think Lilith could survive, and maybe either, like if we go to the moon or something, maybe allies like Lilith or Bonnie or Smoker, if Smoker has to switch sides to help the Strats during the Egghead incident, which I think seems likely because Smoker's been, like, throughout the story, pushed more and more and more to that kind of thing. Straw Hats and their allies maybe go to the moon, or if the Revolutionaries show up, I feel like if the Revolutionaries show up, my opinion is that Bonnie goes with the Revolutionaries and joins, like, in Kuma's place in the Revolutionaries. And if so, since, again, Shaka is the one that called Dragon and everything, I could see Lilith going with them. I could see Lilith somehow ending up with New Mads, because we have, like, Judge and Caesar, who were always fighting to be, like, number 2 behind Vegapunk, and they're like, yeah, now this is New Mads, this is our show. And then a Vegapunk shows up and is, like, upstaging them again. So I think the comedy of that, Lilith could end up with New Mads. And on the other hand, we have York, who I think York either ends up with the government because the government decides we do want a Vegapunk, and like we made a deal with York, or if the Blackbeard Pirates are here and the Blackbeard Pirates want information, want knowledge, Vegapunk has that, and York is Vegapunk. I think York could say, wow, this deal with the government didn't work out, and end up going with the Blackbeard Pirates. So that's something I think could happen with Egghead, is I think, and I'm talking about Egghead even though this chapter was about Kuzan and Garp and Kobe and all them. But yeah, I think if any of them survive, I think Lilith could end up either, like, not a Straw Hat, but like an ally that travels with the Straw Hats to the next island or something, like we have all the time, or could end up with the Revolutionaries. And I think York could end up being taken. I feel like being taken by the Blackbeard Pirates, they're like, we're not leaving with nothing. We show up to Egghead. I think York could go with the Blackbeard Pirates. That kind of makes sense to me. So yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it's so interesting though, because like I said, there are so many moving parts. I don't think Vivi Wapple Morgans, I don't think they get involved with the egghead stuff. I think that Vivi is being used by Yoda to tell other stories elsewhere right now, and I think that she won't meet up with the Straw Hats. I mean, I think she's going to meet up with the Straw Hats, but I don't think it's going to be until a bit later. I don't think it's going to be immediately now. Um, so yeah, I do think she's joining back up with the Strat. She's meeting back up with them, but I don't think it's going to be like soon. I think it's going to be at least after Egghead, maybe further into the future, towards like the end, before she finally reunites with them. But yeah, again, we have the Seraphim presumably being sent to Empty Bluffs to go after Crocodile and the Cross Guild. There's a lot of moving pieces. I really like this chapter. I should probably talk a bit about it itself. I really like this chapter. I feel like I like Sword. I was never a big like Marine guy, but I do like Sword. It's cool seeing Helmeppo and Kobe in this sort of station, in this situation. Hopefully Kobe can show out and like actually get a reason for him to have all these accolades of hero and everything. We get to see some feats from Kobe, hopefully. That would be very nice to finally see, because it was really, seemed like Garp really doing the work here. But that's because we were focusing on Garp. We were hyping him up. His fight with Kuzan's interesting. Because again, it's like, so if he gets taken out by Kuzan here, which I think is the most likely scenario. So Blackbeard shows up, Blackbeard takes him out. Another reason for Luffy to want to go after Blackbeard. Luffy already has a ton of reasons to go after Blackbeard. He doesn't really need that. Kuzan takes him out, and it's the protege taking out the master. Then Kobe, maybe Kuzan is Kobe's endgame opponent, and Kobe takes out Kuzan in the endgame. It makes us think, okay, Kobe took out Kuzan. Kobe deserves to be Admiral level, because that's Kobe's dream. In the end, Zoro wants to be the strongest swordsman. Nabi wants to make a map of the world. Kobe wants to be an Admiral. And right now it's like, does he deserve that? But if Endgame Kobe beats Endgame Kuzan, then it's like, okay, Kobe deserves to be an Admiral now. And it makes it so that Kobe earns that spot. And Kobe's master being Garp gets taken out. Kobe's master being Garp, and also Kobe's like close friend's grandfather being Garp. Garp gets taken out by Kuzan, the other, like the older apprentice, and then Kuzan gets taken out by Kobe. I think that works. The only thing that doesn't work about it, in my mind, is that I'm still kind of expecting Kuzan to be a good guy somehow. Just because, like, I think Kuzan is not a good guy. I think this guy sucks. This guy worked for the Marines during all of their, like, civilian killing era. He was part of this whole civilian killing business. So I don't think he's a cool guy. Don't think he's great. But Oda keeps kind of presenting him as a good guy. So it's like, it's hard to really think, oh, he's endgame opponent for Kobe, when it just kind of feels like he's not that bad a guy. But who knows? Who knows? Either way, that's it. This turned into a long video, but I kind of want to discuss One Piece when we do these. Gonna do this next week. Like I said, if you want to become a patron or channel member, it is extremely, very much appreciated. And you'll get to see these like as soon as the scans come out and I do my video on them. And then I'll make it public for everybody when the official translation comes out. But if you don't want to, I'd say, like, it's probably, even if you do want to become a patron or channel member, hold your money for now. Maybe give it a couple weeks. And make sure that I really stick with this in this format. I do believe I will be, because this was really fun to record. But yeah, just trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. Nope. Hopefully 1088, volume 108. Hopefully next chapter we get some hint of Carrot being back, because I'm not going to lie, I like Carrot. One of my favorite characters. She's up there. One of my favorites. And she was the only one from Wano that didn't get a conclusion. So, kind of hoping for that. But yeah, either way, I guess I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and everything. Subscribe for more One Piece, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. And yeah, if you want a link to the Discord server is free and open for anyone. Just ask and I can give you a link to it. We can talk there about whatever you want to talk about. I always say, anybody that wants to talk to me in the comments or on the community tab here on YouTube, I always love talking to people. Anybody who wants to hit me up on Twitter or on Discord, I always try to talk to everybody as much as I can. Yeah, and I guess that's it. So if you want to do a super thanks, it'd be very much appreciated. Or if you want to become a patron or member, like I said, you'll get this a couple days early. You can go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description, or you can just go down below and hit join. Patrons and channel members also get a shout out at the end of every video. So thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Hawley, Magical Girls FR Nono and Huariyun, Cheriton Student David Langstaff, and Slayer Candidate SG. Massive thank you to all of them. And thank you to all of you for watching, for joining me on this return journey back to One Piece. Yeah, thank you all, and I'll see you all next time.